once again, thank you for joining us for today. My name's Gerry Hanley, and I am really grateful to be able to partner with Xanadu, a very innovative organization who are looking at many strategies that help you in your institution really help our students succeed by looking at how educational content can be customized and made very affordable for our students. And just a quick overview about today. Today's just the first of 4 webinars to go through this Affordable Learning Solutions initiative and a strategy that you can bring back to your campus. Because as you know, folks, there aren't silver bullets that make a change and impact on a campus immediately. And we've spread out these sessions to really help you think through, once you have a little bit of information, thinking about how it applied to your institution. And today we'll do some introductions. Xanadu will talk a bit about what they're doing and the importance of partnership to enable solutions to be designed for you. And then we'll talk about affordable learning solutions, a lot of the work that I've done in the California State University, and then we'll have some questions. And again, once you have a little orientation about why this is so important for you to pursue and the impact that you can have, then you can begin to think about, what do I need to do to be successful? How do I implement change management? And how do I sustain this? So those are what the future webinars are going to be. And the overview, just to provide you here, is the message we want to really you to take away here is, how do you align, for example, the affordable learning solutions with your campus strategic imperatives? If you don't understand and really align what's important for your campus with what you want to bring to your campus and the leadership you want to provide, it really is going to be a challenge being successful. And when you, once you have that alignment, really think about, how do I make sure the strategy gives you a return on all that effort that you put into it, your ROI, and now how technology, especially since COVID has really impacted all of us, how that's going to be a very important part of enabling those innovations for occurring. So I'll do a quick introduction to myself. Again, Gerry Hanley. I've been the executive director of Merlot and Skills Commons for many years. Merlot has been around for 25, and I've been around since we started crushing the grapes in Merlot back in 1997. I'm also the director of the Center for Usability at Cal State Long Beach. And I think the role that I'm going to be talking from here is, I'm a recovering administrator. From the California State University, I retired as the assistant vice chancellor and senior director of academic technology for 20 years, and created the Affordable Learning Solutions program in 2010. So I'm going to be speaking to you with 11 years of implementing a large-scale program that has really saved students literally millions of dollars. I'm also the chief academic officer for Partner with Publishing, and you may not have heard about them, but they're a wonderful organization that really brings together the needs of the customer and the opportunities by providers to help everyone be successful in delivering excellent, successful services for our students with educational technologies. And Xanadu is one of those excellent partners that we're working with in bringing you the affordable learning solutions. And now I'm going to pass it over to Rich Foley, who really has just been a pleasure working with and planning this series. And he really brings a vision for transforming higher education to us here. So Rich, pass it over to you.
Thanks, Gerry. Very much appreciate the opportunity to sponsor this webinar series in partnership with Partners in Publishing, and as well as Gerry Merlot and the entire community. The one thing you said that means so much to us is partnership. And from a Xanadu perspective, we've made this business based on our partnerships deep within the universities, with the faculty, with administration, with bookstores, very specifically with libraries. And then ultimately, our goal is to create more affordable and accessible learning solutions in a customized fashion at, as small or large a scale as needed. And I really think that this is the beginning to where, we really can help pull this entire, community together to succeed through this sort of creative partnerships that Gerry is going to talk about a little bit more, and that you have a very willing and flexible partner with Xanadu and Partners in Publishing to figure out how to navigate these very challenging times that we're facing. So I'll leave it to Gerry to continue to speak to how we can leverage things going forward and partner and learn a lot about affordable learning solutions. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Rich. And I also just want to echo the point around partnerships and why is that so important? The complexity of the challenges we're facing in our institutions is more than anyone can solve by their own. And so it really takes a number of people to try to figure out how can we serve the needs of students with the complexity of our institutions and our organizations and all the technologies now that have become so essential in enabling us to do a number of things. And that is, how do we improve our students, their graduation rates? How do we bring them into our institutions? How do we educate them and achieve the quality standards so they have the skills to be successful in employment as they graduate, and do this in a timely manner? These graduation rates really have become a really critical variable for our legislators who provide state funding for our community colleges and state institutions, and they filter into national rankings and stuff like that. So if graduation rates is an imperative for your institution, affordable learning solutions can be something that can help you. If you're trying to maintain or increase enrollment, and I know in the Cal State system, a number of our Northern California campuses have really been challenged by COVID and the reduction in enrollment. And affordability really becomes a critical factor for students saying, do I want to go to college? Do I want to invest? And how do I retain them in our campuses? So if you're trying to increase enrollment or maintain enrollment, affordability becomes an important issue. And the other critical aspect, and you hear students talking about it, is the curriculum that I'm learning relevant to what I want to learn and to what I want to do in my life? So local customization really is going to become a critical factor for students really getting the value out of your institution's education, right? So if you're trying to increase enrollment, maintain it, this affordable learning can be a ticket to help you align with that priority. And finally, are your state legislators requiring a textbook affordability program? So far, 40 states have some type of textbook affordability legislation. And that often drives funding for your institution. So, and I know in the Cal State system, you play for where's the money and what do we need to do to help bring that to really give us more capability to educate more students. So if these are important strategic purposes that you have for your institution, I'd say the affordable learning solutions can be a useful strategy that an initiative and an innovation that can really produce excellent outcomes for you. And what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about the case study. So you have, I'm not just talking about theory, I'm talking about real programs that we've run. And for those who may not be familiar with the Cal State system, 23 campuses, about 500,000 students, about 80% are undergraduates. And both the administration in partnership with the governor's office a number of years ago set up a graduation rates initiative. So by 2025, we had to move system-wide from a 4-year graduation rate of about 20% to a 4-year graduation rate of 40%. Right now, that is just a huge increase. And that means students are going to have to take more units. They're going to have to be more successful in the classes. And how are you going to do that? And there's lots of things that you need to do. I'm not saying affordable solution is the only one, but it can be part of that solution strategy. And also the enrollment plans that we have. And the other issue is around the persistent equity gap, where underrepresented minorities are graduating at a significantly lower rate than non-underrepresented minorities. And affordability is one of those critical factors for the equity gaps here. So what I want to begin with, when people talk about textbook affordability, my emphasis is going to be, you have to begin with knowing what is affordable for your students. You have to think about what are the student needs, not what the cost of the books are. And this is data from the Cal State system. You know, when almost half of our students are Pell eligible, when a third of them get enough financial aid for a free education to cover books, tuition, supplies, right? When 95% of our students have expected family contributions of less than $4,000 and the cost of attendance is $24, all these students are going to have a challenge of how do I afford going to college and living through this process, right? So affordability becomes a really important issue, and it's just not your standard metrics on affordability. In the Cal State system, we also did surveys of our students, and we found 11% are homeless part of the year, and 41% are experience food insecurity. Now, these data, often you don't see that in your students, and you don't see those, you know, visibly in metrics that you have at your institution. Because what does it look like when a student comes in hungry into your class, or they've been couch surfing for the last month, right? That impacts their ability to be successful in your institution. So understanding, that's the first thing I'll say, if you want to really pursue an affordable learning solutions, you have to understand the needs of your students and look for data, both your standard data, Pell eligibility, whether granting opportunities, stuff along financial aid, and then looking at their housing and food insecurity. Now, what impact does that have on the student's timely graduation? And the Virtual University of Florida for a number of years have been doing surveys on looking at the impact of textbook costs. And this is pre-pandemic 2018 data, when almost 43% say they take fewer courses per semester, right? Now, because of the price of textbooks. Now, if you're trying to graduate your students in a timely manner, that they have to take a full course load to get out in 4 years. And in the Cal State system, the average student load was about 13 units. And they got to take 15 units if they're going to graduate in 4 years, right? So if you can reduce the cost of their course materials, and even if only a quarter of those students now took more, right, a quarter of the 40%, that could be a 10% increase, right, in students being able to graduate in a more timely manner. And I know it takes a lot more than just textbook affordability, but the ability for you to have an impact quickly on the number of units students are taking, that when they have access to content the first day of class, rather than struggling with, well, can I afford the textbook, and let me wait to see how I'm doing before I go pay $100 or $200, right? All those put students in the spiral of not performing well, right? The other aspects around textbook affordability is around college can be more attractive to students when you can say, you know what? we can reduce the cost of your education. It's just not your tuition, but the essential required materials for you to be successful. And of course, an institutional return is saying by having an affordable learning solutions program, you can look at how you can get support from state legislators. So, and is this impact going to be a significant impact? Well, here, and I'll just again use the Cal State system, and you can put your own numbers here for your institution. If we looked at saving $100 per semester about the cost of a new textbook, and so that would be $200 a year, and we have 500,000 students, that translates into $100 million for students. That's a financial aid package that I could never have bargained with the governor's office and with state legislators. $100 million a year, right? And now you can say, Gerry, does that really happen? Well, let me tell you, again, I mentioned we've been working at this for 11 years. And in 2020, in the academic year 2021, we saved a total of $77 million. And that's a combination of what we do through the bookstore programs, that is low-cost materials can have a significant impact on making college more affordable. And we also have, we call them campus activities. Those are working with our library, and what Rich had talked about, partnership with your libraries, partnership with your faculty development centers, having faculty learn to adopt open educational resources using Merlot and Skills Commons and lots of other resources out there, right? OpenStax textbooks, things along those lines. How those campus initiatives combined with books initiatives partnering together can save $77 million. And every year, as you can see, we continue to grow that, that amount of savings for our students that really can have an important impact. All right. So now, how do you make this happen, right? And, you know, when you have 28,000 faculty members, you don't say, go do this, right? You have to really make this not a student problem that they have to find, how do you find the cheapest books, but how do you make this an administration and institutional problem where they say, how can we, in our bookstore, in our libraries, in our academic technology centers, in our faculty development centers, working with our academic senates, work together to help develop an affordable learning solution strategies? How do you bring your whole institutions? And I began the Affordable Learning Solutions with a presentation to the Board of Trustees to get that leadership drive that then can say, okay, how are we going to work with our faculty and our students and our staff to make this happen? Make it data-driven. If you don't measure the outcome, it's really hard to manage it. And being able to show the literally millions of dollars that we were able to save and the data about the hunger and our homelessness of our students begins to drive people to say, you know what, this is important together to do, and let's partner to make it happen, because none of us individually can solve all these problems by ourselves. So is just the Cal State system? Do you have to have 500,000 students to make this happen? Nope. And the Cal State system has been working with affordable learning on affordable learnings with the historically black colleges and universities, and Bethune-Cookman down in Florida, one of those institutions. And within 2 years implementing affordable learning solutions, they moved all their general education courses, except for a biology lab, right, to no cost for their students. So that made a huge difference in those students being able to make that change, and you can do it. All right, now I'm gonna talk a little bit about, well, how do you do this? Produce all this financial aid. And just so you know, all this information that I'm talking about is available. Obviously, the subsequent webinars are going to go through this in more detail, but affordablelearningsolutions.org, this is what we've done at the Cal State system. And this is just the beginning to help you think about all the different elements that you need to bring together, thinking about aggregating all the assets. And that's just not the content, but all the organizations. That's building partnerships and building bridges between organizations that typically don't play together. How often does your library system and your bookstore work together? But you know what? They can, and they really can produce a really effective partnership that leads to affordable learning, creating capabilities with technology, Xanadu, your library systems, your learning management system, developing the demand about professional development, training for your faculty and staff, and enabling the ecosystem with your leadership. And if look at this, this is the ABCDEs of your affordable learning solutions. And we're going to cover a lot more of this in the future. Now, what I'm going to end up here is with thinking about aggregating assets. And this is something Rich talked about right from the beginning, is all the organizations that need to play together to come with a solution. And how do you build those bridges? And this is what Xanadu, they can facilitate and help those partnerships develop. Merlot does that too as well, partners in publishing. And sometimes you need those facilitators to help create those customizations for the local needs of your institution. And then again, creating the conveniences with technologies. As I mentioned, your bookstore, your library, your learning management system. And you often need these innovations. And this is why really Merlot Skills Commons is so excited about working with Xanadu, is they bring some very innovative technologies that it takes the OER that we have in our libraries and allows the faculty member with instructional design support that Xanadu can provide you in the tools that they have to allow you to create the affordable learning solutions that's right for your course in your institution and deliver that affordable content for your students that meet the mission of your institution. And do it in a way through partnerships to share the workload. And many of you know my motto, give a gift and not a burden. And the way you really reduce burdens is by partnering and getting a helping hand from a friend. And that's really what these partnerships, what Partner in Publishing, Xanadu, Merlot, Skills Commons, and the work that we've been doing over the many years can help get you started on affordable learning solutions. So hopefully this was a little bit of an appetizer for you to say, you know what, let me get into the meat of affordable learning solutions in the future webinars. And of course, if you have any questions along the way, we are here and we'll answer questions in a second. I think we still have 4 more minutes, but just want to put this up. Email highered@Xanadu. They're the contact point for coordinating all these efforts. There's a phone number there too, and we'll take great care of you. So let me stop there. I know I ran just a little bit over, and now happy to answer questions that we have here, and I can see that there's a few here. Joyce, thank you, Joyce, for asking the question. What's the best way to engage with and partner with a library for affordable learning solutions? The first thing I'll say is spend time talking to the librarians, right? Now, in the library, you have many different organizations. You have your reference librarians. They're the people who are often engaging with the faculty and the students looking to find things. They're really important to talk about how you can help their reference services deliver more to their students. The other thing I would say, talk to your library dean. One of the challenges in an institution is that many of the administrators think of the library as an expenditure center. Oh, they cost money. I got to buy books. I got to pay things. I got to pay staff. But when you can begin to talk to your dean and say, you know what, the library is a student success center, because by you being able to provide more affordable learning solutions to your students, and it's free access to all the students, no matter what their financial state is, that you can help students take more units per semester. You can help students stay in class, because by delivering content through the library and partnering with the library to meet the students' needs where they are, that you can help them stay in school. You can help them take more units per semester. You can achieve those graduation goals. And finally, I'll say, especially when you're working with, and I'll say in Cal State system, when we have, again, 40% of our students, 45% are Pell eligible, they often need a sanctuary for their learning. They need a place to go where they can imagine what it's like to learn more, to become more. And the library as a place is another important place where you can enable those students to have hope, to move on, to get with their education and then get employment. So the library becomes a very important way, and sometimes they don't recognize that, and the campus doesn't recognize that. So through partnership, the library can become a real leader in affordable learning solutions. And I'll end up real quick with, on that question, is the in the affordable learning solutions, if you go to that website on the Cal State system, I'd say about half of the ALS programs are led by libraries, if not 3/4. I'm trying to remember all of them, but they're very important there. All right, and I see we're at 9:30. So Rich, let me pass it back to you to put the closing comments, because I want to make sure I don't spend too much time having people go longer.
No, well, Gerry, thank you so much. And while it's 9:30 in California, it's 12:30 here in Ann Arbor.
Oh, right.
I want to just say thank you, everyone, for your time today. And again, from a Xanadu perspective, we are so excited to be sponsoring this sort of webinar, because affordable learning solutions is something that, we can help as a community, help everyone succeed and go forward. So look forward to our next segment in this series. Thanks again, Gerry, and thank you to everyone participating.
Great. Thank you.